Welcome everyone to the showdown between the Skaven, who shall be led by IKKIT inside of his mighty Doom Wheel. And today, guys, we face off against the Greenskins, who shall be led by Hadries and Dr. Doom and Darkness, aka Azag the Slaughterer. So certainly should be quite a bit of fun. Now, as far as the build goes, it's going to be a classic Skaven front line of Skaven slaves, and what better way to start a battle than letting thousands of your troops get massacred by the opponent. But with Skaven, it actually works pretty well. So basically, you get the Skaven slaves, you send them in, let the Greenskins pop that wall, and basically waste all their ferocity and energy just beating down these Skaven slaves, and you profit, which is great. So in total, we have 4 of these Skaven slaves. We do also have IKKIT on his Doom Wheel, like I said. And Doom Wheels have always been super good against Greenskins. Now, not so good against like the Lords like Azag, for example. You don't want to be fighting him, but if you just ride around and tear out off their infantry, it can be super cost effective. On top of that, he does also have access to the Howling Warp Gale, which is very good. So for example, if Azag, and Azag's a pretty common pick here, so I like to bring it just in case, and spending 100 gold as a failsafe against him, I think is a worthy risk. Like if they go with Warzog, whatever, who cares? It's like 100 gold. But you can lock him down, allow your Zap Cannon to kind of blast him, and usually it's pretty good. Yeah, so basically just going to be trying to rout off infantry and different troops and trolls and, whatever else with this this bad boy here. For the front line, Skaven slaves, we have a couple of clan rats as well. So 2 clan rats in the secondary. I like to have some quote-unquote quality in the secondary line, so once the front line falters, we then have these clan rats to fall back upon, and they'll hold firm for sure. No questions asked. On top of that, we do also have the IKKIT Triads, one of my favorite units on the roster. And even if they're like not good in a matchup, like let's say you're playing a matchup where there's not going to be any large threats, the fact that they can create a clone with which you can distract your opponent, you can use them as a tar pit. It's just an HP mess that your opponent has to deal with. It's so good. So I feel like they're almost worth it in every single matchup, but that's just my opinion. A lot of people probably would disagree. But we do have the IKKIT Triads here, and they've already made a clone. So these clones are going to be pushing up the edge of the map, trying to disrupt my opponent's formation, just cause some, stress. And in the back, we have a pretty powerful missile line. We do have the Plague Claw Catapult to deal with the Daka line. So if the Greenskins came with a massive missile force, I wanted to have that to kind of deal with that. And of course the IKKIT Zap Cannon, which is just insanely powerful. Good at sniping Lords, good at sniping Trolls. If they go with an Arachnarok Spider, it's good. And it does add to the cooldown timer. So if I'm able to hit Azag before he gets his wall off, then it's going to be incredibly good. 2 Clan Rats with Spears, Warp Grinder, and some Ogres back here. And I have to admit, I did not actually see the Spider Riders back here. So, I think I see them in a moment. But yeah, those guys are they're a sticky unit. For the cost, they have really good melee defense at 30. And they poison things, so it nullifies the offensive output of their target. And can be quite obnoxious to get rid of. That's pretty much my force for Hadries. He's got some Goblin Wolf Rider Chariots, the Atif Robbers. Goblin Wolf Chariots. He does also have Durkid Swig Hoppers, regular Night Goblin Swig Hoppers, which are pretty good. Against Stormvermin, you get some extra AP. They have bonus for its infantry, so they can just wreck their clan rats, and yeah, they do a great job. In the front line, it's going to be Gobos. We have Goblins for Skaven slaves. Goblins, of course, are the superior troop in this matchup, which you don't see terribly often or hear terribly often. Some ROR Night Goblins here in the front, the unbreakable ones, Azag, and he does also have 2 Doom Diver Catapults, so very wild pick for sure, and Doom Divers can do some decent damage against a multitude of targets. So for example, if you're shooting at my Plague Furnace or my Rat Ogres, maybe even IKKIT Claw, they can burn through the witches and definitely do some decent work against him. A couple Trolls and Savage Orc Biggins in the back, and that's pretty much it. I also forgot to mention, guys, I do have some Death Runners in the back, because if you're very patient, and the Greenskins have either a Daka line or they have the Doom Diver Catapults in this case, if you wait, oftentimes the Greenskins are going to be like, screw this, I'm sending my Savage Orcs forward, my Trolls forward, and they'll leave it vulnerable, and from there the Rats can feast. So here in the initial skirmishing phase, you can see my Plague Claw Catapult getting some good damage. You're actually taking out 12 models off these Night Goblins, and the IKKIT Zap Cannon is going to be going after the Wolf Chariots. I think I was just a little bit out of range of Azag. He was doing a pretty good job keeping him back. And my skirmishers, the Gutter Runners, are going to be surging up there trying to poke those guys down. But at this point, I definitely should have changed targets onto Azag, but I was just so busy trying to defend the back line. You can see these good play by Hadries. He's just like running circles around my Rat Ogres, and he will get on top of the Zap Cannon, but I should be able to defend them off of the Ogres. We'll see. Nonetheless, so you can see that the big boy here, Azag, is going to be landing, attacking my Gutter Runners. My Plague Furnace and IKKIT Claw in the front are going to be going after the ROR Night Goblins, trying to get some good value here. An aspect of the Dread Knight, look at that. So his guys actually cause terror now, so it looks like, I think what Hadries wanted to do was get the terror route and push my guys off the map real quick, but I did run back towards the center to try and prevent that. In the meantime, we do drop some summons as well. So the Plague Monk summons are going to be going to fight some goblins. And the IKKIT Triads are also surging in to try and deal with the Night Goblin Squig Hoppers. So the Wah has been popped, and I wasn't terribly efficient. I think I might have hit him once with it and maybe shut it down for 15 seconds, but it did come off cooldown, so the Wah is here, unfortunately. But, really nothing's fighting. I mean, the Goblins are coming in. Here, there's a little bit of an engagement, but it's mostly Skaven slaves. And you can also see I will be falling back with IKKIT Triads to try and get them out of that Wah beatdown. In the front, the ROR Night Goblins are broken off. In the back, a little bit of a trundling. The Forest Goblin Spider Riders were able to get on the Zap Cannon for a moment. And these other Spider Riders, unfortunately, do get on top of the Plague Claw Catapult. So sloppy play on my part, but they came from the forest and kind of this back area here, and I didn't see them. So yeah, good on Hadri's. Very, very good play there. In the meantime, Ixchia's Triads are fighting, but I believe these are the clones here. I can't remember if they are. They might actually be the real ones. It looks like they were the real ones, which is pretty unfortunate. And now we send in the real troop quality here in this army. The clan rats are going to be going in to fight. And also the slingers are focusing the Tief robbers, while the Zap Cannon is now, I believe, switched on top of Azag to try and do some damage there. And Azag is going to be going after IKKIT Claw, which is a really good choice. Spirit Leech is popped indeed, and yes, the Zap Cannon is blasting him, but I do get a Howling Warp Gale, which you can cast even if they're right next to you. So the Howling Warp Gale goes down, locks him in place, and the Limp Biscuit Wheel is just rolling through goblins. You can see a couple of these lovely goblins being run over by IKKIT Claw, the Mad Inventor, but oh, he was actually also sniping me with the Doom Divers, which seems to be doing pretty well. I was wondering how IKKIT Claw took that damage, but now, my friends, this is when the rats feast. You can see in the back here. The Death Runners have come out of their tree line, and they're going to be going to shut down these Doom Diver catapults, which is great value. These things are 800 gold apiece, so if I can shut down this one, run over here and shut down this one, that is going to be value city. Now in the back line, there is some pressure, of course. My catapult was able to come back online. A Zap Cannon gets taken off again, unfortunately, so my clan rat positioning has been a little bit poor, but I've been scurrying back and forth. There's been threats from all angles, so it's been a little bit tricky to keep up, but nonetheless, the clan rats with spears should be able to get them off, especially with the help of the Warp Grinders. I do also have the Ixchia's Triads back, and I can create another clone. Now look at this. This is like a whole, basically, body of troops here that is going to target this advance. I mean, it is such a good unit. In the meantime, Azag is still trying to snipe me. IKKIT Claw running for the hills. Another Howling Warp Gale is going to be going down, locking him in place. We do re-equip the artillery piece, so the Zap Cannon is now back online, and we will continue our firepower here on Azag, trying to wear him down while the Plague Claw Catapult shoots at the more elite units advancing, which are the Savage Orc Piggins, and I believe there's actually 2 of those guys, so trying my best to wear them down. Over here in the back, the Death Runners were able to finish off this Doom Diver Catapult. Now they're going to get caught, unfortunately, by a bunch of Squake Hoppers, but it's not a lot of Squake Hoppers. It's 30 of the, I believe they start with like 45 or 50 or something. Let's see, it's 45 here. So the Death Runners will probably honestly win this fight. They're full health, they're active. These guys are tired. The Goblins, of course, are active, but they're really good at buzzsawing through infantry. They have a bonus for infantry, so honestly, the Death Runners probably should win this fight, which is going to be a good situation here in the back. Now, my Furnace is still in okay shape as well. Spirit Leech going down on the Plague Priest here from Hadri's, trying to finish this off and get rid of my magic. So in a bit of a panic, I just basically summon as many rats as I can. So the Plague Monk's going down right here. Zap Cannon still blasting him in the face, but it looks like Hadri's doing a good job actually hiding behind the Plague Priest, making it a little bit tough. And he has switched his other Doom Diver to try and take this bad boy out, while jumping over here with Azag to try and focus down IKKIT Claw. So clan rats are still fighting, but there are trolls here. I have some ogres as well, but man, IKKIT just getting pounded by Azag in very close battle, guys. The Bounce Fire is pretty much just dead even right here. On top of that, the Forest Goblin Spider Riders are coming back here once again, but I see them coming from 2 directions. So they're coming from right here, and this is where Warp Grinders just shine. So I use both abilities. I use the snare, and I use the damage, so as soon as they get in range, they get snared. Check this out. So they come in, and boom, you're locked down. And the Warp Quake is going to be doing damage as well, so it's a really good tool for defending your backline. Clan Rats will finish off these ones, and these guys are just getting grinded down by the Warp Quake, so thankfully we are able to stabilize our Zap Cannon in the back, which is super important, because if we didn't, I don't know what tools we'd have to deal with Azag as he flies around and basically just goons out my characters. Yeah, we'd have Gutter Runners and things like that, but nonetheless, scary situation. So those Forest Goblin Spider Riders being broken for the 100th time are now being pushed off the battlefield. And here in the front, you can see Azag gets shot right in the dome piece by that IKKIT Zap Cannon once again. Here comes another shot. Oh, and down he goes, just steel chaired by the IKKIT's Zap crew right there. Awesome stuff. Ogres are pushing off the trolls. And as it is with both of these factions, usually if like one big thing goes wrong, like trolls rout off in mass or your lord goes down, it's a bit of a mass exodus for everything else. And here there are some Savage Orc Biggins fighting. The catapult's still shooting in. We also have the Gutter Runners dropping some nice shots here on these Savage Orcs. And it looks like IKKIT Claw is going to be coming in on his Doom Wheel, the Brave Rat himself. 728 HP, and is going to be able to run over these Savage Orcs pretty efficiently. So here it comes, and a 1 and a 2, and they're running for the hills. That is why Doom Wheels are good against Greenskins. I mean, that's still a healthy group. Plus, Plague Claw Catapult does also have Contamination, which does tank the leadership. So if we take a look at the Greenskins around the battlefield, the Trolls are getting pushed off here. There are some Goblins over here. The Death Runners on the far side were able to outmaneuver the Goblins. Goblins only have 33 speed. Death Runners have 54. So I was able to disengage, run around, and then also pick off this Doom Diver Catapult. So the Death Runners have just been absolute MVPs this game, just doing great work here in the back line. Because in the late game, had the Death Runners, or excuse me, the Doom Diver Catapults been online still, I mean, that could have been a huge game changer. They would have been finishing off my Lord, finishing off my Plague Furnace, and the Greenskins probably would have won the game. So those Death Runners, in many ways, in conjunction with some of the focus fire on Azag, were what took the day in the end, in my opinion. As far as this build goes, I think it's pretty well-rounded. I think it can deal with a lot of different Greenskin play. If they go with a Rush, you have good screens with the clones, you have the IKKIT Claw, you have a Plague Furnace, all of which counter infantry builds pretty heavily. On top of that, if they do go with like an infantry rush, you have a catapult to, or excuse me, a Daka build, you have a play clock catapult, you have some backline pressure with death runners. That's probably going to be one of the harder things to deal with, but and also gut runners aren't bad at kind of countering those guys a little bit. So yeah, I feel like it's a well-rounded build. The one thing I may change would be play clock catapult, maybe switch it out for like the mortar team or something. But even still, I felt like the catapult was pretty good because the Greenskins don't have too many tools for sniping artillery, like bolt throwers or like arrows of Kurnus. They don't really have anything like that. So typically your artillery is going to be a safe pick. So yeah, I like this build. I think it was good, and Hadri's build was awesome as well. He mentioned after the game, because we were just playing out, testing out builds and just trying to get some practice in. He mentioned that he thought the Doomdiver catapults probably weren't worth it, and I agree. I think that maybe just going for more aggression, like going all in on aggression or all in on Daka and just having like a more focused kind of army there. Because like the thing is you rush with all the goblins and different things like that, but then you leave the Savage Orc Biggins and the Trolls back there during the main fighting. So you're losing a ton of backline pressure just to protect Doomdivers, which again aren't doing that much in the first place. They still did okay, I guess. It wasn't bad, but I guess you just go one way or the other. You go like Daka or you go all in, but I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, honestly, this game could have gone either way. Had Azog gotten like one better attack in, right, that would have decided the game. So really, I mean, both builds were functional. Both builds were good in my opinion. So well played to Hadri's. Hopefully you enjoyed this game, guys. This Skaven versus Greenskin showdown, and we'll see you guys on the other side. Take care.